Eastern fight set in Zagreb, Croatia, with Luis Claudio, fourth degree, black belt, and the master of the gogo choke from Ben Rothwell, also his jiu-jitsu coach. And Luis, we were just about to do an interview with you. Suddenly, Ben Rothwell texts you and says, it's 12 p.m. at night, or a.m., and he just says, hey, I want to train the helicopter armbar. I want to do the wheel kick. Is that how Ben Rothwell is?
Yes, Ben is, a lot of people don't have the chance to meet him. And but, you guys start seeing a little bit more of Ben Rothwell. Ben is a really nice dude, and he's always super hyper and, super happy. And you don't see a lot of fighters, in the week of the fight being that relaxed, that comfortable. It's something that he really enjoyed to do. That's his passion. So it's a good thing, because being so nervous is all the adrenaline, all that stress is not a good thing. But it's good to have him there. It wasn't like that in the beginning, but we got to the point that now he's comfortable and having a good time. That's the most important thing for fighters.
So we're waiting for Ben Rothwell, but he doesn't show up. So is that something he does often? He just kids with people?
Yeah, well, yeah, he does play a lot, and we always have a big fun with with each other all the time. He'll probably show up. We're just gonna train a little bit, and he goes like, "Well, I'm just gonna." He's so pumped for this fight. He took this fight 4 days after Josh Barnett's fight, so you don't see many fighters doing that, and especially this is our third camp in a row. So after third camp, you will be burned. Physically, mentally. It's a normal thing that happens with the body. But he's so pumped. He wants this title shot so much that 4 days after he calls me, goes, "What do you think? Let's take this fight." And says, "Yeah." He goes, "Nobody wanted to fight him." And, he goes, "I wanted to fight. I don't want to wait for a title shot. I don't want to wait 8 months. I don't want to wait for 9 months. I want to fight now. What do you think?" I'm like, "Well, how do you feel?" How that's the question.
How did he feel?
He goes, "I'm ready to start training tomorrow." So literally after 3 camps, we had only 8 weeks, but actually it was 7 weeks because he came here to Croatia to promote the fight. So he's got 7 weeks, so we had to be very careful to do the training, not to go overtrain him. So, but it was a good camp, We definitely, after this fight, we need to take some time off.
So people have started to come around with Ben Rothwell as he's showing a lot more of his personality. And he had the incredible victory over Josh Barnett, who hasn't been submitted in his MMA career at all. So why do you think he didn't get the title shot just after that victory?
Well, yeah, it's something that we keep, asking each other. We talk around, and a lot of people, comes back to us. And, they always just like, why not Ben Rothwell? Why not? We were in Ireland, and, of course, Stipe was hurt 8 days before the fight. And, Alaska's there. Ben is, playing around with him. He's like, "Bro, let's fight, let's, the show is here, and let's do it." And then they go on the stage, and Ben is asking all the Ireland fans, which it was amazing to be there. And, the crowd's going crazy. "Yeah, let's see the fight, But then as we're going back to the hotel, they announced that Alaska was fighting, Stipe. So it's kind of like, wait a minute, you hurt, to fight Ben now, but you're okay to fight Alaska in a couple of weeks. So it's kind of like, it was very bad, but it is what it is, Or you go home and you go depressed, or we take the fight with Barnett. He did well, and we take the fight with Dos Santos, So
obviously, you guys were, a little bit. It was weird that he suddenly got that. But how did Ben Rothwell take it when he heard the news that Stipe all of a sudden was booked against Arlovski?
Oh, he didn't like that at all. He was very disappointed, like very disappointed, like very. It's just, you train for 3 months, and then, you're ready to fight, and you're getting closer and closer, and he wants that fight. And then that happens, it's like, a bucket of cold water new, after a 3 months camp. It's not, I don't think it's a fair thing with the fighter, But business is business, and whatever is best for the business, I think that's what they did. And like I said, it's already passed, and talk about it is it's just depressing, But hey, I think it was actually, I believe in God a lot. I think that happened for a reason, because we took Barnett, and Barnett is amazing. We all know him. I talked to you before. Barnett is the guy on the ground, and having been submit him with the go-go choke was definitely something else. He made a big statement. He knocked out Overing, Gogo, Mitrion, Barnett. So it's something else. So I think, yes, God does things in different ways, but it did in the best way though. So here we are.
Let's look ahead, as you said. Let's not be sad about the past. Let's look ahead in the future.
Yes.
As you said, Ben Rothwell, Junior dos Santos happens on Sunday night here in Zagreb. And have you been promised a title shot from the UFC? Let's say if Ben Rothwell wins this fight, he will get a title shot.
Well, there's always talk, but there's talk before too. So I would say let's get it done, because the fight is not over yet. Let's see what the result is. We train hard. He wants this really bad. And, God will bless us and we'll come out with a victory.
How do you see this fight, as far as technique, skill for skill? Ben Rothwell against Junior dos Santos. Where do you think Ben is better, and what strength and weaknesses do you see in Junior dos Santos?
Well, Junior dos Santos is a former champ. You can't say anything bad about him. And I believe that everybody has your up and downs in your career. Ben has that, and look where he's at now. Like we talked about it before, you never know. Heavyweight is always, shocking. So we train not for the guy that lost for Overing. We train for the best dos Santos. So we're not taking that for granted. Like people, oh yeah, he's gonna. All these guys, they're top fighters, they're top level, and I believe Junior knows, he's against the wall right now. He needs a win. And Ben knows that's the win for him for a title shot. So both of them in a very, pressure position. But I think Ben will do well. Ben is a tough guy. We already know that, if he goes to the ground, he will finish. And we see him, history on knockouts is, a lot bigger than his ground finishing. So hopefully we got one or another.
Let's not beat around the bush. You are, of course, the master of the go-go choke. Can you tell us the secret behind the go-go choke? How does it happen that Ben Rothwell just gets the go-go choke against Matt Mitrione and then against Josh Barnett as well? And do you think it could happen against Junior dos Santos?
Well, I believe it can happen with anyone. People would ask me, oh, you think he would get Barnett in the go-go? And I was like, yeah, if he gets it, he was going to tap him. But people really don't believe it because, come on, Ben doesn't come from a background of jiu-jitsu or anything like that. And the thing is this, I'm a black belt on the Rickson Gracie, so we don't work fancy stuff. We work what it works, and we work what it works for MMA. So it's important for people to understand that Ben has been doing the go-go choke for the last 4 years. So you don't learn a good position that can finish everybody in a month or 3 months. That's why we create a program, and in the program we have attacks and defenses that implement any circumstances for attack or defense in the cage. And that's what people have to understand. There's a lot of black belts in jiu-jitsu today that we know they're not. But there's a big difference, too, in the jiu-jitsu with the black belt with the gi on. That's a totally different, aspect. If you put a guy on a cage, everything changes. You know that. So it's a more like offensive. There's knee, there's elbows, there's everything coming at you. So you can't play the real traditional berimbolo or all the stuff that works in the sport jiu-jitsu. So it's a little bit different.
What kind of a choke is it, as we spoke earlier? Is it like a blood choke or is it a pain choke? What kind of choke is the go-go choke?
Well, I'll tell you this. I can't tell you much about the go-go, the details, but I'll tell you this. If Ben hits on it, it's a painful choke. Because, I was talking to you before, he got so good at it, that he can finish people with the, boxing gloves. He can actually hit the go-go with boxing glove. I train few guys from the UFC right now at this point. I'm training Juliana, a bunch of guys that comes to do the ground. And, they all hitting, they're getting better and better. We're going to see more of the go-go. But Ben has it because he's been working for 4 years. Now, just to finish, a lot of people hasn't seen Ben on the ground. People inside of his guard, he's probably one of the worst guy I ever seen. And you could never imagine Ben would be good on the ground, on his back on the ground. He's a big guy. He should be good on top. Actually, he's on the bottom. He's extremely dangerous, and the go-go comes all over. So,
how do you see this fight going on Sunday night?
Well, like I said, I don't like to talk because, we're very humble, and I believe we work really hard for this fight. And this camp was, it was not just this camp. We've been working all the camp, and he's getting better every camp. So if it does go for the ground, I'm 100% he's going to finish. And once again, his standing up is really, he can take some punishment, and when he hits people, drop. So I would say, it can go, Junior for sure, he's going to try to stay on standing up. So, one way or another.
Do you think he's going to call out somebody on the microphone after the fight?
Oh, yeah, we all know that what's going to happen. So,
call for a title shot?
Oh, yeah, he will. I mean, there's no more way to go. I mean, come on, that's, 3 former champs. So we still need to win this fight on Sunday before we call anything. But, yes, winning for sure. And God bless Will for sure.
Let's talk just a little bit about Juliana Pena, who faces Kat Zingano at UFC 200. How has she dealt with the situation outside of the cage, and what is her state of mind right now?
Well, Julie is training really hard. She trains in Spokane under Rick Little. That's the head coach. Rick Little, amazing guy. We've been working with Mike Essa and Sam Cecile, Elizabeth Philippus, and but I just do the ground. They come, they train. I was there for a little bit. The Sikh Jitsu family, they're amazing people, and I'm having such a good time. So she's going to come out now. She was in my house for a month. She's coming back now next Friday, and we'll start the camp, and then eventually Rick is going to come, or she's going to go back to Spokane. So there's a lot of, good fighters there. So Mike Cass is fighting April 16th, too. So Sikh Jitsu family for sure with the UFC BJJ family.
Okay. Thank you very much for the interview. Of course, we have the big fight coming up on Sunday, Ben Rothwell Jr. Santos. Look forward to that. And, Juliana Pena and a lot more fighters coming up for you. Yes. All the best from here.
And for sure, thank you all. Thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about Ben and what we've been doing. And, hopefully I'll come back to Newark one of these days.
And I hope that an instructional of the gogo choke would come up at some point.
Yeah. Eventually it will. But we have some very, very good arm bars that could happen. So we'll see. Hopefully there's other things. There are other things that we hiding. People didn't put him on those positions yet. So like I said, I would rather him finish. I don't want to change his game, for being a standing up guy. But, as long as he keep winning, we're all happy.
Thanks for the time. All the best on Sunday night.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.